Hi. So, today, after 3 weeks of being in the Swiss Alps, I'll be leaving, I've got my bags packed, and I'll be telling you how much money I spent on my trip here. I want to say a big thank you to the channel sponsor of Squarespace. They've been with me now for over a year, and they've helped keep me on the road and helped fund and keep the production running. Yeah, behind me, this is my website, which I host on Squarespace, and so it's fantastic for my needs and for anyone who has a business or a hobby that you want to present yourself really professionally and you're not a website designer, you're not quite sure how to make a website on your own, don't worry, it's really easy on Squarespace. You just choose one of their professional portfolio designs and then amend the text and add videos. And if you look at my website, which I'll link below, you can see that I sell my tours, my merch, my travel guides, my ebooks, my YouTube Academy, how to edit, how to vlog, and how to upload course. Everything is all in one place here. It looks great. There's just a whole host of great things about Squarespace, and if you want to start playing around and create a website for free, then you can. Just go to Squarespace right now, create your website, see how easy and fun it is to create a website, and then when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Paddy Doyle and you get 10% off. Now, let's continue with the video. I'll also be sharing with you some of the things that I've learned after backpacking for the past 3 weeks across the Swiss Alps and share some of the negatives. I like to do this at the end of every big series. Travel vloggers, we tend to keep it a little bit over positive during the editing and filming process because we don't want to seem like miserable bastards. But, you know, it's not all. This is one of the things we're going to be talking about. It's not all sunsets and rainbows. There has been some negatives. There has been some negatives to backpacking through Switzerland, and I'll share all of those on our travel day because we're leaving Switzerland and we're going to Italy using the train system. Before I go to the train station to catch our first train, I do need to spend 30 more Swiss francs. This won't be included in the budget because it's just loose change. I have exactly 30 francs in coins, which is quite a hunk of change. So I'm thinking I'll nip to the supermarket here. So I ended up spoiling myself and going for this sushi set for 16.50. I got a little vitamin water for a couple of francs, and for 9 francs I got a 3/4 bottle of local Swiss red wine, which will be very nice to enjoy at the end of this travel day. I normally wouldn't get sushi, okay, but you know, when you've got coins, it's like free money because you know you can't use it in the next country. This is our train. Our first of 4 trains today. This is just simply leaving Zermatt and going down the valley to the town of Visp, where we'll change trains and get on our main train to Italy, which goes all the way to Milan. Using the trains in Switzerland is relatively straightforward. You just need to keep an eye out for reserved signs because some of the seats will be reserved. If you're booking second class, like I do, then you just need to look for the number 2 on the train. That just means second class, doesn't mean like carriage number 2, and the number 1 means first class. I'll show you first class seats now because I've never actually had a look. So yeah, they've got like these leather headrest support things, and there's a bit of a fancier upholstery, but otherwise, you know, you're not getting plugs, you're not getting USB, you're not getting Wi-Fi or whatever. It's just a little bit more spacious in a 2-1 configuration is the technical term. See, this is second class. And if you ask me, we've got much bigger windows. And okay, the seats aren't as posh, but I think we're going to get a nicer view. Yeah, sometimes they'll stick like a reserved thing on the window and you won't really see it. And then the ticket inspector will shout at you. So just keep an eye on for that. I think, obviously, the Swiss Alps, the peak season is the height of the summer and obviously the height of the ski season, and the time of year that I came, you know, in June and late May, it's kind of in between seasons, and I think a lot of damage gets caused by the storms, by the ice, by the freezing temperatures. And so I don't know if it was just this time of year or if this is normal, but it seemed like crazy, the amount of construction work. Every town, like cranes and loud noises and drilling, and it was everywhere from Interlaken all the way to here to Zermatt. And I don't know, it just kind of was a bit of a buzzkill because it was relentless in every little town. It's nice when you're out in the mountains, you get away from the noise, but then sometimes you don't get away from the noise, because this is another thing, is the helicopters flying around everywhere. Sometimes it's like a touristy thing, like they're going for a view of the mountains, but they use them practically a lot, to transport building materials, to transport supplies up to villages, up to restaurants, up to train stations or whatever. And so the helicopters are just flying over your head almost every day. And sometimes when you're trying to have a peaceful, tranquil moment, a helicopter will just like fly over your head. And so it wasn't as peaceful and as tranquil in reality on the ground as you might think, especially before I came here and I saw these Instagram videos of the rivers and the streams and the green fields. You do obviously get lots of time where it's peace and nature and quiet, but sadly I was really blown away by just how much loud construction work there was and helicopters flying above your head seemingly every day, every way we went. We're running a little bit late. I've only got about 4 minutes to catch my next train. The train to Milan.
Platform 7.
Platform 7. Oh, cheers, mate. Oh, that's it coming in now. Keep your wits about you in Milan Central Station, by the way. I met 2 different people who said they got pickpocketed in this station recently, and one of them was Thai and she lost her wallet. It ruined her trip. Bless her. So keep your wits about you. Right, so here's another thing that I learned, and this is definitely something that you can learn from me, because my travel style isn't very forward planning. I react to how I feel most times, most days, especially on a big hiking adventure. So I didn't plan ahead, I didn't make many bookings, and so I had to react, and it cost me a lot more money to book my accommodations because of that. If you want to save hundreds of dollars, then book your accommodations far in advance. You might be thinking, well, duh, but here's the thing. So, I would wake up on a Thursday and be like, right, let me book the next few days, let me figure out where I'm going to be going, in which town I should be hiking to, or where I plan to be. And then I realized, oh, it's Saturday and it's Sunday, and all the locals and all of the other people in Europe are on holiday. They have a break. The weekends are so much busier. And then I just couldn't find anywhere, and I had to just take whatever I could get, which meant a lot of the time a very expensive private room in a hotel rather than a cheap dorm room in a hostel or something. I promise I'll find some peace and quiet, and I'll sit down and go through my Swiss spending. I don't know why, but I thought I'd have a whole train to myself with a table and everything. But all I do have is a USB plug. But it's nice to be in Italy again, especially when I hear all the Italiano. Very nice. Welcome to Bolzano Bosin, and we have just gotten a cheeky little preview of the reason why we've come to Italy. All the way in that direction is the Dolomites. The Dolomites are a very beautiful, aggressive mountain range here in the Alps, the Italian Alps, and that looks absolutely stunning. Now, we're not going to head over into the mountains yet. It's far too late in the day. It's nearly 8 p.m. I have a hotel in this town for one night, and then we're gonna get a bus or a train or something into the mountains. But you're not here for any of that. You're here to find out how much I spent on Switzerland, and I've got a few more extra tips and things to give you. So let me just quickly go and find my hotel. Okay, ciao. I checked into my hotel, which was a little bit underwhelming to say the very least. Okay, I'm checked in to a crack den. The window, straight into this. Lovely. So, no natural light. I mean, what was the point in putting these nice windows in? Anyway, 90 euros. Brilliant. No breakfast included. And then I came to the town square, or the piazza here, and I had pizza and a lovely glass of Chardonnay. Pizza in Italy, it just tastes better. You know, it's so fresh. There's just something about Italian pizza. It was incredible. And then I just got myself into bed. And I've woke up this morning, I've come back to the same place I came yesterday, in the beautiful piazza, and I've got a cappuccino and a chocolate croissant for breakfast. And I'm gonna tell you, finally, the last few bits and bobs of advice if you come into Switzerland, and then we're gonna go through the budget breakdown, okay? So here we go. Come later in the summer. If you're here for hiking, if you're coming to Switzerland for the hiking, for the green, luscious mountains and incredible views and clear skies and not as much rain and hardly any snow and ice to contend with, then come later. Come in July, come in August. Now you're probably watching this, if you're watching this as they're uploading, in July and August, but I filmed this in late May and in early June, and there was just, I had issues with still having too much snow and ice on the high mountain passes, and a few of the hiking opportunities that I wanted to do originally were not available because they were closed, or it was just too irresponsible to try and attempt solo. So even though you don't have to contend with too many crowds if you come in May and June, and it's a little bit cheaper, I just think if I was going to do this trip again, I'd come back in July. Also, you know, don't expect Switzerland to be this open space of fields, mountains, cows, streams and waterfalls, and it just being new. I think Instagram or the marketing materials or the videos you might see on YouTube, they never show you the crowds. I did, okay, because I was surprised by just how many there were. And the last piece of advice is be prepared about the outrageous check-in and check-out times. It was very common for me to not be able to check into my hotel or hostel, even though it was just a dorm room with the bedding not done for you, you have to do it yourself. It was very common to not be able to check in until 4 p.m, even sometimes 5 p.m, and then check out, they'll say, oh, you have to check out by 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Even one time I had to check out at 9. I don't know if this is a widespread issue across Europe. I'm gonna find out now because I'm in Italy traveling. But yeah, that just blew me away. So just be prepared to not being able to check in until late in the afternoon and having to check out straight after you've had breakfast. Let's finally get down into the nitty-gritty of how much it actually cost me to travel the Swiss Alps. So every single day I broke down how much I spent in different categories: food and drink, accommodation, activities, transport, and then just miscellaneous things. So let me just tell you straight away how much I spent on a 21-day trip or 3-week trip in the Swiss Alps. I spent in total, not including my flights, but everything on the ground, accommodation, activities, everything, food and drink, I spent 3,594 Swiss francs, which is 3,973 US dollars, or 138,100 Thai baht. There's also the pounds there for the English viewers, okay? Which is not that bad if you think about the fact that I was there for 3 weeks. If you want to know how much is that on a daily average, because you might be coming to Switzerland for 2 weeks, you might be coming for just 1 week, and you want to know, well, how much does that work out a day? So on average, I spent 171 Swiss francs per day on accommodation, food and activities. That's 189 US dollars a day, or 6,250 baht per day, which is quite a bit when you look at it like that. So just take that amount and times that by how many days you're going. Also, you need to look into train passes. I did not have a single train Swiss pass, which those give you 50% off your transport when it comes to some cable cars and some trains. However, because I didn't really think I was going to be using that much transport, I didn't bother getting one. I thought I'd be mostly on foot. However, I spent so much money on transport. Sometimes I was spending 60 francs a day, or 80. I spent 84 francs one day. Yeah, look into the Swiss travel passes and the Swiss train passes. You'll definitely save some money doing that. I just didn't really plan ahead that much when it came to using the public transport. So many days I didn't spend anything, and if you're just hopping on a bus to get from the village to the hotel, maybe the hotel's up at the top and you need to go down on the bus. Those are normally free or very cheap. Food and drink, I was really surprised. That was where I spent the least of my budget compared to what I thought I was going to be doing. I thought the food and the alcohol and things would be so expensive, but in reality, I could find a bottle of beer from a supermarket for as little as 1 franc. If you go to a posh restaurant and you have a pint of beer, it's only going to cost you 5 or 6 francs, which is so much cheaper than places like Singapore and London and other parts of the world where they charge an outrageous amount. A glass of wine, 4 francs, in a restaurant, a nice place. So you can enjoy a beer every day, you can enjoy a glass of wine, you can get cheap cans from the co-op and just have a drink at your hostel or your hotel room. So if I'm being realistic, if you plan ahead, book your accommodation, and get cheaper deals, and have a strict itinerary that you can stick to, and you get a travel train pass or a Swiss pass, and you save 50% here and you save 50% there, I think if you want to enjoy yourself and have activities and eat food and drink and have the odd meal in a restaurant and things like that, I think you're looking at a daily average, a realistic daily average of about 150 Swiss francs a day. I mean, let's face it, for me and for you watching and for many, many people around the world, going to the Swiss Alps is a dream. It's a bucket list. It's a far attainable dream because we have this conception that it's so expensive. And in some ways it was, you know, when you have to pay 250 francs to go up to the Jungfrau Rock train station. Basically, in summary, the Swiss Alps isn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be, which is great news. Stay tuned, subscribe if you want to come along on the adventures in Italy. And in the second half of this year, we're going to South America and Antarctica. Yeah, that's happening. Ciao.